The squad has been picked for the GB champ, the last GB boxers. The squad has been named for the boys to get that Olympic call-up. And at the same time, all over England, boxers are slowly fighting their way to the ABA finals, which take place, I believe, on April the 13th at York Hall. They're fighting their way. Some of them have had 6 or 7 bouts. Some boys I know, one boy I know has had 6 bouts and lost. So it's incredible. They're fighting their way through. Now, one of them is, I think, what we call 69 kilos. It's sort of big, or maybe actually 71. It's light middle. I think it's traditional light middleweight. It's from the All Stars Club, which is in Harrow Road. And Harrow Road's not in Harrow. It sort of goes from the Edgware Road up towards, I don't know, Stonebridge way, Neasden, Harlesden. Anyway, it's a lovely place, the All Stars. It was founded many years ago by a friend of mine called Akai Izola, and he founded it because he sent his son TJ along to a local amateur boxing club, and TJ came back with his 2 friends, and they were a bit embarrassed, and they went up to the flats where they lived on about the 15th floor, block of flats on Harrow Road, and Akai said, "What are you doing back so early? I only just sent you down there. Get back down there." They said, "No, Dad," they said they didn't want us down there. So Akai said to TJ, "What do you mean they didn't want you down there?" They said they didn't want kids like us down there. So Akai said, "What do you mean kids like us down there?" So TJ was a bit embarrassed. He said, "Well, Dad," he said, "I didn't want any more black kids in the gym." So Akai went down there, gave the geezer a mouthful. He did give him a mouthful, and he went back. And that very night, he started a gym on the landing in the tower block. They used to do the skipping on the landing, and they used to do the sparring and the bag work in Akai's living room. That's all true. Akai Zola, he's got himself a gong. He's a top man. Anyway, TJ went on to fight in the Olympics for Ghana and lost to Evander Holyfield. And as a professional, he won the British title. Sadly, he died. He had a heart attack in a lift a few years ago. Biggest coffin I've ever seen. Absolutely the biggest coffin I've ever seen. Akai was the saddest man I've ever seen that particular night. Anyway, that gym is still going, the All-Stars gym. It still turns out fighters. Tyrone Falls won their first ABA title a good few years ago. He was a dangerous middleweight, was he ever. I think he trains kids now. He's one of those guys that gets into the community and saves kids that are lost. Akai has done some good things. Anyway, he's got a good fighter now. Young kid called Kelvin Fawaz. Kelvin's going all the way through. He's in the national semi-finals this weekend. It's a delight to say that Kelvin is on the line now. Good evening, Kelvin.
Good evening, sir.
How are you, my friend? Are you doing okay?
I'm doing fine. How are you tonight?
Not bad. Listen, I know you're trained by those young whippersnappers, Stevie Palmer and Dave Brown. I knew those two. I used to whip them into shape for you. Kelvin, I wasn't always fat, brother. I can tell you that.
Don't worry, man. I heard about you, but, since you left, I've taken over the gym now.
Yeah, that's what I've heard. Now, listen, Kelvin, you've had a great run through this year's ABAs. In fact, you're on a great run since last year's ABAs. You're unbeaten, aren't you, since last year's ABAs?
Yeah, I'm unbeaten in a couple of about 20-something fights. I've never been beaten in 20 fights, about 20-something fights.
Now, are you at light middle? Is it 71 kilos or are you at that 69 kilos weight? What are they doing this year? I'm on the 71, 69 to 71, but I can get down to welterweight. That's what I intend to do when I turn pro. Okay, so now this year, Kelvin, you're down to the last 4 now. Who's out there? I mean, is there a danger man lurking for you out there, or are you the man they're fearing?
Oh, you don't even need to say nothing about people out there for me. I'll take them all out.
That's what I like. I like a little bit of confidence. I really do. Now, I'm also told by Ron Bodie that he thinks you're the only boxer in the country who throws the Superman punch, where you jump up in the air and throw this punch. Is this true?
Yeah, the Hercules punch. Yeah,
the Hercules punch. Yeah, Ron called it the Superman punch.
Yeah, you could call it Superman or Hercules. As long as he lands and hit them, then it's good to go.
Kelvin, listen, how long have you been in the gym? Because you came over from as a refugee, a political refugee, if I'm not mistaken, from Nigeria.
Yeah.
When you were 13.
Yeah, I came when I was 13. My mom died and my dad died, and I was a little kid. And I just started, I was walking around and I started looking at TVs and I saw people boxing and I was like, I can do better than them. And then people were like, you talk a lot, why don't you go and do it?
You do talk a lot, but I like it.
Yeah, I talk a lot, but I back every word I say. And you can watch me on YouTube, DICEKO, DICEY space KO.
Okay.
And you can see all my videos there.
So was the All Stars the first gym that you ended up in?
No, I studied from Brunel University. I never went to Brunel University, but I was boxing for them because they liked what I had. And I went to Harrow Boxing Club.
Yep.
And then I went to Hanwell School of Boxing.
Yep.
And then from there, I went to All Stars. I intended to go to Dale Youth, but I went to All Stars first, and they kidnapped me.
Yeah, they're like that. Listen, they don't want to listen. Mr. Ack and Mr. Palmer and Mr. Brown, they're not going to let talented fighters walk out the door and go down to that basement at Dale Youth. There's no way. They're not stupid.
That's what I'm saying. Mr. Palmer is the best coach I've ever seen. You know,
he's a good man, Steve.
He pushes me to the limit.
You should have seen him when he was only 11 stone.
He's big and he still pushes me around.
No, he was a really good fighter, Steve. I'm not, all jokes aside, he was a really good fighter. So, Kelvin, your plan is, how old are you now, Kelvin?
I'm 23.
So you're 23. So you're a mature man. So your plan is to get to the ABAs this year, hopefully win the ABAs, and then turn professional this summer. Or I mean, is there anything for you to wait for?
Yeah. Wait, let's correct you. You said hopefully win.
Sorry,
I will win the ABA.
Okay, so when you win the ABAs on July the 13th at your call.
Yep.
I'll be there that night, so I'll be watching you. So what's the plan? I mean, are you thinking then to turn professional?
I really have I have intentions of turning pro. I mean, if the promoters are right, then yeah. But the point is, I intend to go into the GB squad. I've been told by Keith Walters.
Keith Walters, top man.
He told me that that I should come to Sheffield, the camp and training camp and all sorts. And I said that if I can get a chance to spar anyone that they have in the light middleweight or middleweight for the Olympic, I could, prove them, do a little justice.
Well, you do fantastic because, you've got a lot to prove. So if you went up to the squad, you'd have a lot to prove, and they would have to really, really turn it on because they've already qualified. I think that's a brilliant mix. It's guys pushing guys, and that's good.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, if you look at the statistics, last year, in the box cup, because I heard you talking about.
You won the box cup last year, didn't you?
Yeah, I won the box up, and out of every contestant, I won the best boxers award as well.
Wow, I didn't realise that.
Yeah, and also the point is, I beat the England representative called Ben Falaji. I beat him, and Ben Falaji beat the ABA. I don't know what his name was. He beat the ABA, and I beat the England rep. And now I'm thinking, I'm hearing that Ben Falaji is in the ABA, is in the Sheffield camp. So what's that supposed to be? I mean.
Well, listen. Let's hope, Kelvin, that you get a call up after the ABAs to get up there and you can show them what in theory they've been missing.
I'll try my best. You can't measure desires. You know that.
You can't measure desires, and all you can do is leave the ring every day and say, I couldn't have done any more. And if you can do that, then you can sleep at night. That's the way it works.
Exactly.
Listen, give my best, Kelvin, to all of the boys in the gym, and in fact the boys and the men in the gym.
Yes, and I'll tell Mr. A you said hi.
You make sure you do that. Kelvin, thanks very much. Kelvin Fawaz there. Now anyone who listens to this show knows that I do like a confident fighter. I do. Whether they're in, that little kid coming from Jersey, the little flyweight came in this gym once from Jersey, hadn't even had a fight. And suddenly he was giving me stick and telling me to go walk with him. He said, if you lose a bit of weight, you can walk me to the ring. He's unbeaten still at about 5. I love the little kid. He was great. He was a right noisy little thing. Kept looking at himself in the mirror when I was interviewing him. Little blonde surfer. Then we had Kelvin there. He wasn't short of a bit of confidence, was he? Now